Hello, everyone. Professor Lady. It's cold out, it's February, and it's about to snow in New York. So let's talk about UAP and non-human intelligence. So what I wanted to do in this video is recommend a few interviews. There is so much coming out right now. It is overwhelming. We have jobs, we have families, we have friends, we have things to do. It's hard to get all of this information that's coming out on a daily basis, mostly on YouTube. Thank goodness for grassroots podcasters and YouTubers, so many of them talking about this subject. But it's hard to know which videos to watch first, which are the most interesting. So I'm going to recommend two tonight. And they are two more Ross Coulthart interviews, incredible interviews. And thank goodness Ross is delving so deeply into this topic like no other journalist. So the first video I'm going to recommend is with Mr. Blitch. And he has an amazing, resume, special forces, military, special operations, cognitive psychologist, and many, many other things. Rescue operations, 9/11, disasters abroad, etc. He's been through it all. And in the interview, he talks about how he has seen it all, right? But his interactions with the non-human intelligence leaves him absolutely petrified and frozen in fear, unlike anything else he has experienced. And he's done a lot. He's seen a lot. So he talks about how this evolved in his life, this contact, and dreams as a child, right? But then he continues on to being an adult, and an incident that is one of these things where there's the proof of the person being absent for a certain period of time. And it's really hard to dismiss these incidents because we know something real has happened to these people. They have literally, physically disappeared, and it's measurable and observable. He, for 5 hours, he was taking a bike ride, disappeared for 5 hours. Wife was frantic. Police were out looking for him. What he remembers is seeing a light in the distance, a truck. He can't remember for some reason what the truck driver looked like. So that's a sketchy part of it. He just can't seem to remember who was that truck driver as he approached this light, this scene that he saw in the distance that he thought was maybe construction or some kind of maybe accident or incident, I think he said. So he goes through these strange occurrences in his life, including that one where there is this physical absence, right? And it ends up with him telling the ultimate story of horror, which is, he says, a praying mantis looking at his window, and then a giant praying mantis, and then I guess abducting him, getting very angry that he wasn't complying. It didn't sound pleasant at all. And this being said, we can't take your soul. We can't touch your soul. In other words, they needed to experiment or do something with his physical body, and almost like, we're helping you, stop resisting, calm down. We can't take your soul. And so he tells this incident. I'm not going to spoil it. You got to watch it. You got to watch it for all the details. But the Blitch is very gregarious, very intelligent through the whole interview, and it kind of builds, to this. And he likens the abductions that happen to military people, and there's a lot of military people having these interactions. He thinks it has something to do with their involvement in monitoring nuclear facilities, or some involvement in nuclear weapons testing or facilities. He likened it to scientists taking fat from a polar bear and measuring the health of the bear, the radiation levels, if they're near nuclear sites or fallout. He likened that to the extraterrestrials taking something from humans and measuring our health, I guess, or the health of these people who work around radiation. The praying mantis seemed to say, we're trying to help you. So, oh my goodness. Okay, the second video that you must see is with Fred Baker. Again, another amazing resume, special operations, well-known social media, YouTube figure. Another tough guy, right? But these whistleblowers, these military men, Ross Coulthart says, you're a warrior, he keeps saying to them. And like Jake Barber, you're crying over a goddess. And Fred Baker had things to say about love. And I find it kind of amusing because it's like, all right, they have these tough exteriors. They're warriors. They're military people. They can't have hearts. They can't have feelings. They can't have emotions. It gets into that whole like tough guy thing. The tough men, military guys can't have that, sort of empathy and love and intelligence. It's an interesting thing, but I am so impressed by these whistleblowers because you can tell they've been through a lot in the military, PTSD, even some of them talk about, but they have been touched. And yeah, they're talking about love and empathy and society, and it's stirring. It's absolutely touching. Especially because there are these American hero, tough guys who we look up to for their skill and their strength and power and just ability to be patriots and be involved in various conflicts and save people and blah 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 blah, the whole profile, right? But these men, including Lou Elizondo, so far it's been mostly men. There was a whistleblower along with Ryan Graves who saw the objects when she was flying in the Navy too. She hasn't been as prominent, but she did appear on the History Channel. But these guys have been absolutely transformed. Okay, so he was involved in psionics, in Jake Barber's team, right? So he has been involved in calling in UAP, and he provides a absolutely riveting description of one night, what they called in, and what happened. That this team, and he says you have to raise your vibrational level, very loving, to bring in the loving entities. I'm concerned about that. I'm just thinking, it's like a Ouija board. What if you have someone who's in a bad mood and they call in the wrong ghost, and then that ghost is following you for like the rest of your life? What if you call in the wrong alien and they're like come into your house and stuff, and they're not good guys and they're mean? And anyway, they say you have to raise the vibration and be loving, and you will call in the good guys. But I don't know if all NHI are good, so they got to be careful. But he said they saw orbs. They saw different things, and then he could not believe his eyes. A huge triangle. Those triangles, guys. Hudson Valley, Belgium. These huge triangle flaps or boomerangs. The size of several football fields, all right? and orbs flying around it. And he just was like, is this happening? Is this happening? He said, you know, he just was in awe. It was hard to process, okay? Then he talks about that he was involved in the Tough Books recovery that Jake Barber was talking about, and then he had to bring one of the Tough Books or something to Stephen Greer, and he's driving back. This is just incredible. 6 hours driving home, very tired when he got home, very aware of his surroundings. Didn't fall asleep yet. And all of a sudden he's like in a craft in his room, and he hears the fan, he hears the sound machine, and he knows he's in his room, but it's like something is superimposed on that reality, some kind of craft. And all of a sudden he's going through bushes and trees and sticks and twigs and branches are breaking, and he's traveling somewhere. And he talks about seeing this light open up. And you know what he saw in it? This kid from the 1920s with the hat, with the beret type hat and the dress, the way they dressed back then, looking terrified. What WTF is that all about? A kid from the 20s? What is this? Time travel? A portal opened up? I don't get it, but he's like, is this because I visited Dr. Greer? So he's trying to understand, like, why is this happening to me? That's concerning too. The folks doing psionics they seem to be visited. They seem to then develop interactions with NHI, and I don't know if they would all necessarily be positive. So that's worth looking into. The CE5 protocol and Stephen Greer's groups, do they then find themselves in contact, continuing contact with entities? But Fred Baker, he shared some quotes, some just insights during this interview that really were stirring. It really touched me. And some of the things he says, well, he talked about that it's time to shake things up and let's make this public. We want society to know. It's time to know. It's not worth hiding this. Let's make things different in society because of this, because like the raising of the consciousness and the science that can come out of this, 0 point energy and clean energy and an elevation of the of humanity, right, to a higher level of sophistication, love, cooperation, out of this dark shit that we're always in. He says, maybe this all leads us back to the way we were. So he seems to feel that human beings were elevated at one point and then fell into the darkness, right? It makes me think of Adam and Eve and the different stories and mythologies of falling from grace, falling into the darkness, right? Human beings falling into lower levels of consciousness and awareness and the dark, psychological darkness, right? And he and others, Lou Elizondo too, Jake Barber, express people should have the option to choose whether they pursue the truth or not, which is where I think we are, because the information is abundant. It's out there. The whistleblowers are putting themselves at risk to give us the truth. There is so much information coming out. Do you want it or not? Because it's there. It's there. And if you don't want it, then don't then ignore it. But if you want to go down this rabbit hole that I think leads us to being better people and a better society, go get it. There's enough information, and our children should be learning all of this from a young age too. There's non-human intelligence. We're not alone. They're here. They're visiting us. There's various civilizations. Military people are interacting. There's a hidden history that should come to light. Yes, the government needs to keep some things private, like materials that we need to stay superior defensively. Not everything has to come out, but the basic fact that we're not alone, they're interested in us, in coming here, we can learn from each other. Are they all good? I don't know. We need to be careful. But look, the sun is not rotating around the earth, people, okay? And I give these people such credit, and ufologists and scientists who, for the past 50 years, have had the courage to try to find the truth. While all the, in science, we got to keep the predominant paradigm and protect that, because then we won't be respected. We won't get our grant money. We won't this and that. Well, a true scientist looks for the truth. So kudos to those who did, like Dr. Dolan and others. And he also said, I love this. My goodness, it can almost bring me to tears, but he says there can be a happy ending. Fred Baker says this about the NHI presence, about UAP, about this big secret that's been hidden. If we only would accept it and find the truth, and accept the truth. And as Lou Elizondo says, the truth is here. You have to be willing to find the truth and accept the truth. Fred Baker says there can be a happy ending, and there should be. We deserve that. All right. Watch these two interviews, please. Russ Coulthart, especially Fred Baker. You won't be disappointed. If you appreciate me reviewing the different videos that are out there, podcasts, and bringing a preview of the best to you, please let me know. Like, subscribe, share, and we'll keep the discussion going, because with all our busy lives, it is hard to stay on top of this. So I'll try to keep bringing you the highlights. All right. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.